The hardest pretty pioneer Nyūmashī. Begins one day a woman is clothes washing in the apartment. The TV is overheard saying nothing out the ordinary in what sounds Japanese. Clothes hung to dry. Washing wasn't done. She stares at the living room curtains, hands on her hips. Then they're in the wash, while others await their turn in a basket beside it. Mommy meantime rests in that frame on a couch. The TV chats away the noise filling the space. Mom is in the kitchen prepping a familiar Japanese meal. She returns to the washer, extricates last of the curtain, and hangs to dry on the line. Later a small hand touches and turns the doorknob outside. A young lady in school attire and book bag enters through the front door. She calls out, "Mommy," who welcomes her back, unseen but overheard. Going on to say to the prepubescent, "Food is in the microwave, dearest. Wash your hands before eating and again PlayStation only after homework." The girl responds homework will be gone. But Mom, the ministry are going to get rid of it. Mom laments Japan is excluding this come next school term. It's not like it was. My days as a schoolgirl we knew the extra work was better education. Has traits of a kaioku mama, or Japanese educational mom perhaps. The girl finds the microwave. In home clothes eats dinner at the table. Next in her using fingers to work out sums and write in her homework copybook. That done lies on her bed back first staring at the ceiling. In the living room the gold-colored PlayStation 4 a little cold. She plays Horse Racing 2016. Mommy says news is in a few minutes. See the game has to come to an end by then. Blast the girl in a nightie kills the bedroom light and hits the bed. End of the day. Busy being 10. Through the window is forecasted as cloudy with a chance of meatball actually just cloudy. She is attending Shingakura Elementary School class. Before lessons a student is tasked with something. This tasking switches between student leaders every Monday. She and classmates take school books out bags. Typically a school day consists of information technology gradually becoming the rule than exception. Japanese, mathematics, science, social studies, music, crafts, physical education, and simple home economics. The afternoon it's over and once the kids clean the classroom and on her way home walking a Shizuoka city street when kawaii, meaning cute looking, Lullabee makes contact. Responding to the beeping, raise her arm. Manifests from her cherry red children's wristwatch. The child stared at which looks semi-holographic in reality physical. Give it to me low. Projected over and from the watch face is a guinea pig not true to life, one rather stylized in the kawaii manner. Multicolored, the most adorable creature in the world. Befitting appearance comes with a sweet voice, it's a pioneer alert. The Meenies are at it again, time for action. Speech tended to be accompanied by a guinea whistle weak. "I'm a case," she said, an amalgam of confident and playful. The guinea pointed its body in their direction, that away and vanished. Nyūmashī plus raises the ruby suspended by neck chain, connected to platinum metal the ruby is set in, to her lips to kiss, permitting the incantation, yelled in a non-child, power-infused deeper voice, mystic power B1 prompting a fusion with her being, triggering a seconds-long transformation. First a reality bubble forms for some distance. A school uniform as it would be for anything she wore, melted away substituted by another attire called pioneer uniform. Rather girly and cute inclusive of a lower piece, hair accessories, girl's tie, stockings, footwear as befits a kid. Coming with it notably an injure or narrow waist ribbon, it's no sash. Buckle sports pink color. A star at one end. In hand the star tip sewer wand, sparkle. She a working magical girl. Nyūmashī plus takes to running with noticeably faster than human adult speediness. The curvy bubble collapsed once exiting its interior. The pointed direction leader. Reaches a condo to a side there they were. Halting as a catch first complete by a pose. I steadfast champion of justice, pretty pioneer Nyūmashī plus. In the name of righteousness, judgment is here. The lone adult human she thinks is threatened by the Meenies. Inhuman enemies of people. 13 of their kind in 2 types. The man sized at 5.6 feet naughty and the ginormous 7-footer mischief. Names only a child would come up with personally. Clearly unrecognizable as any earth animal. She charged into their midst, and the fight is on while the astounded person watched. Encompassing foe, person and pioneer alike as the large formed bubble. All the existences outsize the tyke. A slim 4.5 feet high, 70-pounder demonstrates above human speed and strength realized in an arsenal of throws, punches, kicks, whilst transformed. Say nothing of superhuman coordination and agility. Athletic combat supplemented by gymnastic-like movement as well. Summoned phrases are yell, and during these few words her child voice replaced with something deeper, supernaturally altered as before. Casting with a star tip wand is accompanied by a pretty casting sound effect. No, not for turning a pumpkin into Cinderella's carriage to ride to the ball, a cane to beat Meenies over the head. Sparkle 8 mere adornment. A melee weapon, called a teacher's rod she'd say to land hits, parry and block attacks. Grunts and groans in battle from one forbidden makeup. Moans of struck Meenie. Inaudible noise, vanquished Meenie burst into eye-catching colored particle flux floating in the air, then settling on the ground finally dissipating. Whole spectacle takes an ethereal few moments. Assuming a body pose and gesturing with the item, yells deep as before. Jack. Sent to intercept an enemy approaching the nervous human and Nyūmashī plus S peripheral vision. The person's eyes bulge beyond capacity at the sight. An honest to God, or put in Japanese, an honest to kami, Shinto gods, summoned from thin air. A cute and semi-menacing 7-foot toy bipedal Japanese macaque Jack in the box from close range walks over, all the while turning the box crank and box music playing. The summon reaches the naughty. There is no Jack when music ceases, then the box top opens. The greeting is a vacuum force sucking single man-sized or bigger mid-sized foes inside, which shuts. The victim is seen pressed up against the corners like a glass. Attack run complete, vacuums itself into the box, which falls to the ground to shatter and vanish. Toy's a weapon in a child's hand. You're safe, she said. To the fight there, the senses she fouls up an inch. Is trouble they weren't weak. Indeed, enough damage must be inflicted to stagger or stun the opposition for summons, or an enemy can resist one easier. Suddenly, Riko. Her voice deepens any time for incantations only. Rising quickly from the ground, an upright rectangular toy packaging box, cute and colorful, see-through plastic taking up much of its front side. Stepping out as a girl's female doll, itself shares dimensions with a slender human adult, barely impeded, tearing the plastic as it exits the box. The box crumples and vanishes. Plastic skin, green blinking eyes, eyelashes adorn, hair prettied up, accessory attached to, sporting earrings, complemented by a fabric alluringly girlish dress and plastic shoes. Approaches in a dancing move of mischief, then latches on to dance with it in actuality, raking bones of the much larger being in seconds. Fearsome strength. To address average to mid-sized meanies. A defeated foe by her or summons disappear in audible noise. Goes the same for toys their own way. The doll falls apart by the joints before doing so. Not long before she herself dealt with the last. Flecks float round her little body. Justice is safe once again, declares the child and dashes off. The bubble collapses, leaving a person proceeding as if nothing happened. How you say? The bubble is a point of altered reality. A way to keep secret what happens, down to erasing her from memory. So potent as just shown fights, and who knows what else can happen therein with observers aware. She can transform in front stranger and acquaintance alike, the result would be maintained. The girl far away and no reason looking back. Death. A Nissan's trail SUV knocked the person to the ground as it backed up. Girl at home resumes her normal day. Under partially cloudy sky, a small propeller plane is seen. Her school class is under the teacher's gaze in PE class. Ordinary life. At a secluded place later on school grounds, a chat with her buddy. She leans upon the compound's wall near the corner, across from which she occasionally eyes longingly the swing, waiting her chance as kids occupied it. Her gaze shifting between it and Lullabee. Her placement is to hide its presence. As previous, semi-holographic from her watch. Lullabee, I can't always use my candy moves when I protect people. There, his tone is empathetic. Magic needs the big enough space to work. Pioneer. Pioneer, Japanese pioneer, is what magical girls are referred by. Deeper still, a belief system. Lullabee wastes no effort to influence an impressionable mind. Lullabee, would be nice if all my friends knew I take on the enemies of justice. Any person who knows has their memory changed in the reality bubble for everybody's good. Weak. But no fun if we alone know. Imagine mom seeing me doing all the cool stuff. Pioneer, you mustn't. Pioneer girls must live with the secret. I was plain. She grins. The swing had a few less kids now. For real, Lullabee, tell me about that magical place you're from. Weak. A magical place where sweet pig like me eats seeds all day with vanilla syrup. Where it's love, hugs, kisses. Wow, all the guineas I know are on TV. A special place cuties like me go, kids like you can't touch. That how you speak to your charge? The girl didn't give any mind. Her partner gone, she herself walks toward the occupied swing. No more waiting. Beep, beep, beep. Arm was raised. Her cherry red children's wristwatch made her. The child stared at the semi-holographic animal, so did her white-eyed mommy, Riko. It's spanking time. Justice needs you, Pioneer. She sat at the dinner table in home clothes. Her mommy expressed nagging about wearing that ruby in the past, which her daughter stood and kissed. Then yelled in a non-child, deeper voice, Mystic Power be one. As before, transformation proceeds. First, a reality bubble forms for some distance. Clothes melted in favor of the pretty uniform. All set. Gonna travel far, don't I? Pioneers know no obstacle. Seems unshakable confidence. With super quick legs you'll be in time. The girl meant having to run so far. Lullabee pointed in a direction and vanished. The remains of the Mueller wolf down. Shakily, Nick but off her child went out the door. Soon the child was outside speeding away. The bubble which collapsed when outside the confines and Mommy Riko went on like nothing happened. As said before, can transform in friend, stranger and acquaintance alike. And a flip lands perfectly on her feet from a height of a few meters. She arrived at an industrial area. Unlikely to see many kids here, but here she was. Before anything. Catch frisk complete by a pose. I steadfast champion of justice, pretty pioneer Nyūmashī plus. In the name of righteousness, judgment is here. Who are you, girlie? Asked a man. Nyūmashī plus. Your magical savior. And smiled innocently. This is it for you. Charge she did and stopped mid-stride. Hold up. Was the guinea's voice, and when she raised her arm to see the watch instead has a child's accessory in place of her partner. A butterfly hair clip. What is this for? Clip on any of the meanies and find out when you're done. Taking the fashion treat in her hand resumed the charge, reaching, tripped a naughty by leg sweep, causing it to tumble into another. She used the chance to clip the thing onto its body. That's to show off her cutacy in very high combat. 22 this time near double and again a mixer of two types. The several humans can see them too, and look puzzled by the beings than scared. Am I seeing right? Asked another man. The meanies didn't stand there. Launched their own attacks. Deft dexterity let her block, dodge, strike, parry like a seasoned pro. In short order a few defeated vanished into a tractive fleck. Infallible. Far be that from the truth. And naughty grabs and holds her fast. Her little body struggles. Down it came. Licka floats down in an elegant spin, slowed by its open skirt, and during descent showers disorienting, bright sparkles from her basket onto the foe, allowing its summoner an escape window. Wrenching loose partially, follows up with an elbow strike to break free. Magical counter. Part of a pioneer's arsenal. Depending on individual come in different guises and not all need summons, nor are incantations always prerequisite. Landed on the ground with a delicate step, the toy bows and falls apart, ultimately vanishing. Mid-flip, totally airborne, crown of the head oriented to the ground, pointing her wand at, and eyeing a naughty in superhuman coordination. Licka. A naughty made a boo-boo. Dance to oblivion. Where in Hachiman are we? Astounded a woman thinks aloud invoking in a Shinto war divinity. The fearless little girl continued her swath of destruction, air judgment. The foes put up a strong retort. She had to pull every move she knew, tightly focused concentration to stay just ahead, like hard mode in the game Bayonetta. Her manner all the same wasn't a hateful or mean-spirited one. Rather like a kid in a candy store. Power in a little package likes to be chatty and play. Jumped vertically and introduced a 7-foot-high mischief to gymnastic kicks and upon landing, snuggles. Wasn't Tiny Toons Elmira close enough. A pink cloud puff manifests just off the ground. Stepping out 6 foot tall as a human adult, a most adorable amigurumi Asuri brown bear, bipedal, proceeds to walk from close range. Upon reaching does a deadly hug, disguise crushing in an affectionate way. Cute and appears of soft constitution never think hides force like that of a hydraulic compactor. For those times in the mood to lavish average to mid-sized meanies TLC. The enemy's pretty flex about the bear. Unnaturally twist at the waist for starters, then at the joints the stress tearing it apart, and it too vanished. The bear had a knitted look your grandma would make you. Amigurumi the Japanese art making knitted or crochet cute creatures of yarn. With this many the fight continued. She's so fast and live as it were dancing across the arena. Don't forget Sparkle. Look a child but in no way fought like one. The eyes told the humans it happening, but still could hardly make sense. Caught again. She in Anati's grasp struggling to get free. Monkey on the back. For real. How many counters has this girl? Jack returns shrunk to a much smaller creature a couple feet high, without the box, fidgeting around wildly. With a distraction she can escape and the option which is taken, to exact a hand chop, then a knee and backflip to safety. Average to mid-size foes that takes care of. The toy bursts apart in a loud pop, pieces fly every which way. Hardcore Lily power. As she engaging some martial moves, adding. Impressed class if a video save. Suddenly Sparkle knocked away landing out of reach on the ground. She on the ground herself same time. Enemies begin slowly approaching. The girl curls away to escape on her back. This the end. A mischief reels, hit by something near too quick for the eye. Surprised you didn't I? Deep voiced, Saint Etienne. Was a point to mentioning that ribbon. Her second melee instrument. She reached for the waist, clasping the buckle. Activated, the buckle forms a toy-like plastic and pink grip at the ribbon's end. At the hill's base a blue chain and a Nico cat figurine hanging at its end. Wrapping the end round a portion of a forklift meters away pulls herself upright. You guys must be so scared. This has gone on a long time. It's only because there's so many. I promise to do better next time. So please hang on. She undoes the end, shortening the magic ribbon to several feet. Has ornate marking on colored background. A pretty thing. A few charge and in response flips for more distance from them. Offray. Once the whip-like movement connects, wraps the ribbon's end round the neck and pull the rest away, leaving what more resembles a cute feminine ribbon choker and vaguely a choker design with a decorative knot in front. The naughty struggles to remove, its movements mistaken for goofiness. With the ribbon grabbed a second and slammed into a third. By this point the choker tightening till asphyxiated and on a last flailing, burst into pretty flex. Quite the weapon little girl. From now her primary one, moving her arm emulating a whip, able to land rapid strikes at range. Grab one baddie, pull herself in a leap over to it, and in a swift motion, executed a wrestling monkey flip to a naughty, and grabs the airborne creature with a ribbon. The people kept staring. Oh crap, a mischief from the side. Oh sod. Works with perfect timing for side and rear, which this amigurumi protects only. Instantly a Japanese pond turtle, a body shield taller than her, 5 feet on hind legs, its 2 forelegs spread wide, materializes from thin air, and absorbed the attack before ripping at the seams and vanishing. The name refers to a type of shield no less. Parry summon one more quiver in a girl's arsenal, augments a pioneer's already prodigious ability. Pinpoint timing, a necessity else open to eat a hit, for if mistimed lasts only a moment, intended to place itself between the attack and the girl. Once hit performs a counter mover here, a basic block. As with magical counter, protects the user in a pinch. What form taken closely associated to the user. This magical girl gig doesn't look that bad. The girl takes the chance to open the gap again. Not this time. Need to hurry. Both sides remain set to get the other. Grabs foe headed for human by Saint, your fun's with me. She continued to whittle the numbers. Controlling the field. Now's the time. Miyuki Wagashi Kumpido. Summoned an actual pretty and colorful hard candy wall that grew in place over seconds. To wrap. Fujiya. Candy rain well above in the air, quickly grows a cloud consisting of cotton candy, attractive in color. From that cute looking, some wearing smiley faces, differently shaped and colored like those in a store, hard candy falls on enemies, make no mistake, more like a ton of rocks in terms of force. Not least owing that each piece 12 to 24 inches in size. Meenies were pelted like asteroids from on high. Successfully maneuvering the group closer together, practically bunching them with the Saint, the candy well block escaped from the actual wall of a building. The edge of her candy touched that the throng were beside, ready-made for the Fujiya finisher. A demonstration strategy makes the weapon as much as knowing its operation. In the several seconds the Fujiya lasted, it was all over. Wasn't that sweet? Says her. Kid-friendly demise. The littering candy evaporates in seconds. Only one foe remained and Lullabee says head over. This one didn't disappear yet, dead. The pioneer understands this naughty got the butterfly hair clip. She perplexed it not moving and supposed to disappear. Less time swinging like an ape with Saint Etienne. Lullabee says. Certainly the case jumps are descending good distances, require Nyūmashī plus anchor the ribbon to a point like a pole, branch or roof by wrapping round them. She can swing from point to point. The creature didn't answer the question. Can't move because it's dead, lay be. You. Hey, here's a swell idea, accept the naughtiest transport. Underneath not fond of running a lot, no. Girls like ribbons. Nobody said you can't swing with Saint Etienne when it's cool. But I never expected they die. You never told. Unfinished because the body morphed to resemble a steed and lo and behold got up, yet not alive. That death talk was the length of her attention span. Of course too innocent to conceptualize death, not completely anyway. She shows the barest sign of questioning, and the employer suggests thinking of like a cute pony. Your newest summon. Disappears till you need it. Going on to name a pony. The child selects instead Shin, also the summon incantation. In the name of horse only gods may ride. In a sweet voice but irk undertones her partner complains not her place, but the name sticks. Her trees sparkle with the ribbon snapping it up from afar in a whip-like motion. My bed feels real comfy. Baying the humans, another pioneer success. Justice prevailed. With that the steed vanished and she by the ribbon pulled herself up high and out of sight. The reality bubble did as expected, collapsing. Death. Toxic chemicals erupts in the air. An industrial accident when she left the bubble. None had memory of magic. Another day Riko is out to the grocer and would overhear news of the toxins. Nyūmashī plus herself on her downtime is bouncing a rubber ball off her room's wall. Her mind drifts between thoughts whose turn next week to do tasks in class. Lullabee met her some time ago and presented the magical girl offer. Defend the innocents from the evils of the Meenies as a pioneer. Came with a cute super-powered toys and skills none of the adults can even touch. Really the toys were so cute. Did not begin that way. Girl's time began with saving cats from a tree or helping old people before it graduated to heavy stuff. Lullabee was taken by her pure heart. Made the right choice. Sweet little girls must never look at themselves as warriors, Lullabee would say, or really a justice champion. When the cute furball calls, she's on the case. To her innocent mind has to be coolest. Her thoughts touched on gymnast class. She'd take the train herself. What she learned can fit in the moves of hers. Indeed a number take from lessons. The elegant command. The sky bright, warm the school trip. No uniforms. No Iwabaki indoor slippers. Shoes were not worn in classrooms. Class spent the day doing activities and taking in the sights of Shizuoka. Nothing a kid can't handle. For a brief period her mind distracted and thought what happens to her magical girl days when she not so little. In short order snapped out by an unknowing friend. After fun comes homework. Next term we'll see about that. Beep, beep, beep. She swiveled her head towards the chest drawer, where the cherry watch rests in her room decorated in a child's way. The guinea manifested above the timepiece. Pioneer alert. A night to save the princess from homework. Humans are best working that out. Weak. Nyūmashī plus picked the chain off the bed and ward. One kiss later, transformed. The bubble again. The watch is grabbed and proceeds to wear. She asks if she'll get something cool like before. Maybe. Senses the little rodent was baiting her interest. Nyūmashī Plus is running outdoors in the light, home left behind in the bubble. By the ribbon length extending, without skipping a beat, lowers from a phone pole. Leaping off the edge of a high drain, shin. Her this time living mount materialized from thin air under her open legs, and fit comfortably in the literal saddle. All before landing on the ground. The ribbon returns to her waist. Suddenly remembered it. Isaac Grample Park, the family-friendly leisure park. Grounds of which Nyūmashī Plus halts. Surveying the area 15 naughty catch her sight. The public were already spellbound by the creatures, and now this preteen Chan writing a what? Chan, a female student. Baddies take no weekends. What's a kid supposed to do? The mound vanishes. The gymnast inside didn't bother getting off first, snapped her legs together before the ground reached, landing on her feet. Really was faster travel. Wicked. Lullabee says might have sights on people outside the inevitable bubble, as why this number and pushed she take them out. Catch first please, I steadfast champion of justice, pretty pioneer Nyūmashī Plus. In the name of righteousness, judgment is here. The enemy is aware of her. The large bubble of reality forms. Tosses the wand above her head which spins mid-air, while 2 fingers in her mouth produces a whistle incantation unneeded. Energetically lovesick puppy-like, on all fours, raced forth from the pink puff cloud, brushing along or running up on 7 in the group. SHLJL Bake, the amigurumi raccoon dog. Cute like the rest. Outsizing the real thing at leopard dimension. The girl caught the 2 in one hand. SHLJL is to stagger and stagger the critter did to average to mid-sized opposition. Yet another cuteness belying strength. Staggered means of free hits coming your way. Oh man, what a setup for Phrygia. Just one of her Amazaku candy arts. Several shattering seconds later 7 gone. Little innocence, a barrel of excitement at the justice ready to be meted out. Addressing stunned humans, fear not, everybody's favorite pioneer will save the day. Breast closed in, her athletics began. SHMJM is a persistent summon. Has staying power and the next 40 seconds lingers to distract foes with its dangerously attractive thick tail, before ripping at the stitches and vanishing. You were wonderful, Bay congratulates her. The humans can only wear bewilderment. 2 to go when 15 more materialized. Lullabee so fast. Its voice emanated from the watch, they're out today. Her voice drips in concern. You tell me they can do this. The guinea swallows her apprehension, pioneers can do it. 1 or a million. What would people do without you? Yes. And like that her focus is back, a mature person more likely to squeeze an answer from their partner. Behind her. Osode. Uttered with some alarm. The big turtle ate a strike of a mischief. The girl trots at distance opening the gap. For the briefest moments pondered the distraction almost snuggles. At that offender to hug to oblivion. A mix of both types. How many toys this Chan summoned in as many days. Umbrella name is Nyūmashī's merry friends, toys at her disposal when you're a kid, more toys the merrier. Ux's strike and lands her own with sparkle to stun, also a favorable setup for attacks. Old merry friend, Lika. The doll any kid can love left us box, took hold and danced with the mischief to breaking point. Destroying it. Danced the pain away. Did a gymnastic split of the right and left legs to kick an enemy to her front and back simultaneously. You guys can't keep up. Yet concern lasted real long. As said, not infallible. Taken hold of by the 7-footer mischief. Some onlookers gasp for her safety. Her dwarf body tries to wrench free. As before, Lika floats down in an elegant spin, during descent showers sparkles from her basket onto the foe, allowing the child to wrench free partially, and an elbow strike to finish. My dress ... have him jack. A magical girl has a lot of flashy moves to end things. Little difference for this adult fare. Nyūmashī Plus charged a naughty who charged a human first. Intercepting, leaped into a wrestling shoulder block that stopped the charge. The 70-pounder is physically strong. Next perform the sparkle fireworks spank. Girl will first kick the Meenie up onto its knees, and using her star wand, douses it with the firework sparkles which emits from one point of the star onto its back. Next more intense sparkles from all star points, douses again, impale the wand portion into the entity, and sparkles propel the foe like a rocket along the ground, smashing into enemies or the battlefield. The human left nonplussed. Displayed hand-to-hand technique, weapons, counters, crazy summons, and now this all in a child-sized package. This really ought to be magical so far. Something else in a child's form. Her 2 went some meters, the victim vanished, she in a vulnerable state. Now to pick up my thing. 2 more left. Just like that 10 count a minute's the big mischief. Startled, it's going to be like this, dodging a grab attempt from the nearest mischief, her brain in these encounters had to operate on a knife edge. Normal human brains do not mature till the 20s. In a moment crawled on 4s underneath and stood up and gymnastically backflipped a few times for space. Tucking you to bed. By whistle. SHLJL, bake. Glad wand not needed. As desired animal creature rushed forward from a new cloud, merely brushing against them as it sped by, staggers. Wand not needed for this one too. Kawada. Interrupted by one of the two remaining naughty. The girl scoffs, seeing close at hand in her peripheral vision. Nyūmashī plus assumes a spell pose. Timing is critical. Just a little closer. KOZL, bake. Similar to Osod in purpose as a body shield, however may strike back in a counter move. A second parry summon, this new raccoon dog amigurumi appears, but a moment from thin air hit, divides into three equal identities save for color and the size of a real dog, and pats a foe in a cutesy way by their adorable tails several seconds before self-destructing, ripped at the stitches. Or is that batter? Disguising the forcefulness. Defends her sides and back only, bad timing can allow blindside attacks. The naughties had it. SHMJM finished distractions and self-destructed. About both dogs, the first word in the name of a mythical raccoon. Bake is Tanuki Imkai, or supernatural being. MMMM. Her little fist quaking. These big fellas stagger time is less than the naughty. The chance for a mass stakeout seemed past. Hear my call, then a deepened voice, Saint Etienne. She took the grip. Best be ready for saintly treatment. Grabs and slams the last naughty into a mischief charging. The naughty met its end. To dodge the onrush, her weapon stretched to an anchor point to one of the park attractions to pull up and away. Swinging with the momentum, carries herself high over the ground to land a fair distance from some others with the original well behind her. Without watching her ear. Basel. This kid had more moves with it, the mischief behind is struck. Requires a strike contacting the target. On verbal command ties up foes like a Christmas gift wrapped and replete in a decorative knot style. Struggle for freedom it did. Christmas came early. Bought some time before it frees itself to handle the guys in front. Quite the tactician. From range wrested some strikes to unbalance. Next, eeny meeny miny mo. That's you. Offray. In moments choked by a neck ribbon. One down. The martial arts like in gymnastic feats remained as they chased the lithe pioneer around. Size, can't do all my moves without the wand. Having pulled herself to a high perch on another park attraction, Saint Etienne snaked downward through the air. Basel. Speedily dodged an attack, placing her back on the ground. She attends to the earlier charging individual who now freed itself. A lash to get it to face her, like my boat Riemann. Was she too happy? Krefeld. Can pull the leg from underneath a foe, which happened. Had options but figured what a setup to grip spank. Etienne X changes into a smaller whip with more ends, and then she proceeds to spank them good, then will finish it with a powerful lash to send it flying. Another down. Like Mama used to do. She sprinted towards two more that noticed her. Doing the unthinkable, put her back to them. Last moment staggers with KOZL bake and puts them to rest with martial arts. Soon the last were done. Falling a pause and survey by eye. Over at last. She asks. Lullabee from within the watch. Ah, that was a haul for the books. 40. Weak. It shines her on, your deeds were chemi. Means bright and beautiful. P. Back to homework then. The air shook a while. All the people in range felt. Materializing was a humongous being matching the size of a 40-odd foot long dinosaur. Can't be. Wah. What is that? What you happily faced, a Meenie. Came the voice outer timepiece. But you never said they could reach, did you know? Saving innocence is a pioneer's job. You had right to say. Not like any choice. Carried his frame toward truly scared people. Don't even think. Kawada. Toy blocks. Initiated on verbal command and punch movement, just in front her fist, pieces quickly grow into a pillar-like structure over a foot thick, racing in a straight line. Front end of which scattering the individual pieces on contact with a foe. Shortly after its whole length then breaking up into individual blocks that fall down and vanishing. Capable of obliterating or knocking back foes out to several hundred feet. Doesn't sound too playful. The Meenie reels under a direct hit. You guys, she shouts. Get back. Get back now. They were none too shy listening to a kid. Kawada. Whilst reeled again, she positioned herself between it and humans. Adults are to protect children, for all to see the reverse. What's this about? Snuggles, bake, licka. Dunno for you. Thing looked able to swat them away. Got one chance, got to weaken first. Her strategy was to evade grabs and strikes and move around changing position, but land blocks and ribbon hits. Be a bird. Etienne let her anchor the end on a body part, and leap to a higher perch on a building, and deliver the first lash with it. On cat and mouse went some minutes. She did not permit its obvious desire, foiling chances to reach people. Finally ground away strength, staggered, moves less. Nyūmashī plus sitting on a barrier cross-legged looked at it a moment in thought, then rained on its parade with Fujiya. The creature shuddered under the impacts. A simple tsu gesture and his casting sound effect with a yell and deep voice, Hachical. She, a little girl, summons a typical-looking, stuffed cute, puppy Akita. The Meenie was big, but this all the more. Able to peer into a window 2 stories up. If stories are 16, then 2 makes it 32 feet high. Amigurumi it's not, just a stuffed toy. The thing proceeds with typical puppy sounds, but via speaker, to play with the enemy with its front paws and roll up against them. A hint as each step makes mild ground quakes to the power tons of force behind. One thing to do, Meenie develops a gargantuan crack about the body, and disappears in a vapor. The summon glances sweetly at girl, tail wagging happily a few moments, then vanishing into numerous love hearts over a large area, that fade away. Was it so bad? Says Lullabee. A part of her, despite all the accomplishments, couldn't wait to leave. Another day is Riko house chores, listens as her TV relates the disaster at Izubai newscast. The accident. Shower sound, the cheery watch rests on a metal table not far, clothes in a basket. She destined to name that Meenie an imp, for license naming what she meets. Nyūmashī plus equals tender soul, in Japanese language a contraction of Niksatsu Tamash plus. And gels with one genuinely led to believe they are unto the rescue of those in need. Lovable Lullabee less than innocent. What it thinks of the Akemi girl. Materializing from the watch, whoa, plenty of takedowns in that last one, same time asking bad questions. Get too bright, I mess you up. Children, put something sweet before them and they do what you want. That's the thing about vulnerable, impressionable minds. Hoodwinked into believing meanies are baddies. At no time are they actually seen attacking people. Lullabee knows by future prediction what will happen. Clairvoyance, other words, using the poor child to take out enemies, which in turn let bad and brutal stuff happen to people that otherwise would be saved. Their demises look accidental, transpiring after the girl departs the scene. Those people are unable to fulfill what the future has in store for them. People that otherwise would be saved by the Meenie. Author's note: a Trinidadian Japanese work. Began making story notes the time I finally got round to finishing Puella Magi Madoka Magica, after a several-year gap between episodes, and binged others, like Magical Girl Raising Project, and Magical Girl Spec Ops Asuka. Still trying to finish Magical Girl Lyrical Nanoha. Magical Girl tropes I went for are action and dark. Girlie has quite the varied arsenal, no. Without me, wouldn't know her summons drew inspiration from my Bayonetta game where torture attacks and summons are gamma play. I did my own thing anyone can see, supported by notes called Combat Engine, settling how battle transpires. Calling out your moves, Naruto for you. Wishing a link to reality named her attacks after the real. Offray from a Frenchman ribbon maker, like a Japanese doll, name only, Saint Etienne a historic ribbon making place, Offray's origin in Kawada inspired from Toy Block Research. The name a real company. Mount Shim after the mythical. Added more amigurumi when I came up short. Now candy was truly a lucky catch. After I developed some candy moves, found a Japanese woman carried the name Candy Miyuki when I nearly finished the yarn. The cuteness I figured a girl Nyūmashī plus sh. Amigurumi kept up the child-friendly aesthetic I wanted. Surprised I could only fit one of the dolls well into the writing, so reworked the bear into such a doll. At first chose Tokyo as setting because I tried to look for center of toy making in Japan. Majority of makers were there. I set previous stories in that city, despite open to another locale, only to dig up several model makers in Shizuoka, just before writing commenced. The story is quite stuffed. Even then I got what I couldn't show you. Yeah, I put much study into work. Found myself still information gathering as I wrote to find Japanese themes as ideas found me. Day Tuesday, 17 December 2019. Wanted to add Hachiko many months. Read of him about her before last year, long after I wrote the story. A real Akita dog faithfully awaiting its deceased master 9 whole years. An opening to make a Japanese. Tonight, substituted the original summon named Puppy Love and a Dalmatian. Hachiko an everlasting symbol to this day. Date Monday, 3 July 2023.